Nice to see you. Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here, everybody. How are you? Is this that press room in there?
Right here.
How are you? Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here, everybody. I shake your hands, but I can't see you. Thank you for your interest.
Shalom Aleichem.
Sláinte. I remember you. You do. Remember? That New Year's Eve? What's cooking? Thank you for your interest. So,
How was your meeting?
this was good. Did you hear about it? Have you heard? I'd be interested to hear if you heard anything. This was well done. Governor Cuomo had said to me a couple weeks ago, he said, you know what might be good is if you came up and we had a luncheon together with the Senate and if we had a luncheon together with the Assembly. I sure found them, I'm not used to this kind of stuff. I'm not used to eating in the governor's mansion, but I found them to be very enlightening. I found them to be very civil. I found them to be very constructive and helpful. So it sure was, I sure enjoyed it and benefited from it. And from what the participants were kind enough to say, so did they. So hallelujah.
Did you change any minds, though?
I wonder, a couple of them, especially in the Assembly afterwards, said, thank you. They appreciated very much the insistence by the governor that I backed up that some of the early charges would be that this is only some benefit to the so-called fat cats or the rich people. And that was quickly clarified that no, we're talking about helping poor kids, and we're talking about helping middle-income donors to help those poor kids. So I saw a lot of nods to say that's a good clarification. We need to hear that. I heard the governor say, I'm myself, Cardinal Dolan, I'm not as savvy with all the mechanics and all the technicalities and all the strategies and the political language. But I heard the governor say, when a couple of people said, Governor, what about this? Would this be a possible compromise here? And I heard the governor say, that is well worth considering. Let's get together on that. So there seemed to be a conciliatory atmosphere. There seemed to be I just found it very helpful. So,
Your Eminence, you talked about how the focus is for the poor kids and on middle-income
Sure.
donors, but a lot of the attacks deal with that $1 million cap on this. People say, well, that is for the big, huge donors. They're the ones who are going to cut checks for $1 million, not people like me or any of us around
Where's
here.
Jim? Are you here, Jim? Can you help with that
Well,
one?
any
'Cause that's
reason
one
to
of the
lower
technicalities.
that? To lower that, either by you or by the governor?
What's
So
our?
those $1 million donations are actually going to go to scholarship funds to help those kids. They're not staying with the wealthy. They're making donations. The tax credit is generous. It actually enables people like you and I to make those donations. Unlike a current tax deduction, we're only able to make smaller contributions. This will enable middle-income, low-income people, average earners to be able to make contributions. Not just the wealthy. All of us can help those kids.
But why not lower that? Why not lower
Because
that
we
ceiling?
want to help the kids as much as we can, Jim. The more money that can go to the scholarships, and who has the money?
Why lower it? Fewer kids will benefit.
I
if you
had
lower
said
it.
that, and afterwards a couple of the assembly members said, good point. I said, why are we concentrating from whom the contributions are coming? Should we concentrate on to where it's going, namely all of our kids?
But they're
That's what's
also-
most
but
important.
some of the opponents are saying that the money will go to specific schools, won't help all the needy children in all the schools, it won't be distributed fairly. And because the wealthier people who can make the donation are going to make them to in those schools in the wealthier areas where they live.
I'm not familiar with that criticism. That would not be my experience. Now, we already do a lot of, we have a very vibrant, for instance, inner city school scholarship fund. And that's, the people that give that money don't dictate where it's going. They say, here, give scholarships to the kids. We don't care what school it is. We just want kids to benefit from excellent schools. So that may be true. That's not my experience.
That might be a misconception.
Could be.
You have to.
What does it say about Albany if they don't get it done this year? What does that say about the state?
Well, for us, I think it would add to some of the fatigue and frustration that people feel. What I tried to tell both the senators and the assembly members with whom I was honored to have lunch, I said, look, you and I have the same bosses, mainly the people. You work for your constituents, I work for God's people. And what I hear my people say is two things. First of all, they want to see Albany work. They're fatigued by the bickering. They don't like the fracturing. They don't like the inability to get things done. They don't appreciate the lassitude. And secondly, they want our kids to be the beneficiaries. They're our most sacred treasure, and they want things to work that are going to benefit our kids. I suggested to the members that do we not have a providential opportunity to hit a home run on both of those issues? First of all, we've got a splendidly diverse coalition of people, liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, labor, management, upstate, downstate, who are passionate about this. Every ethnic group, every religious group, Catholics, evangelicals, Protestants, Jews, atheists who are for this. And secondly, it's going to help our kids, all kids in all schools. This would be a way for us to tell our people we can make things work and we can do things for our most sacred treasure, namely the kids. And I think if it doesn't work, it's going to be a great cause of frustration, and people are going to shake their heads again and say, see, we can't get anything done.
Are you convinced that the governor has done all that he could do? You've been critical in the past, saying that promises were made but not kept.
Well, the governor and I have certainly disagreed on issues in the past. I give him high marks for this. He's been enthusiastic. He has gone the extra mile. He's wearing me out with suggestions of things that we need to do and phone calls that we need to make, places we need to go. His energy and commitment and passion about this has been inspirational.
What do you make of the bickering that's going on between the governor right now and the mayor? What do you think about that?
I like them both. I get along with them both, and I guess that's part of the. See, the Irish wouldn't do that. So,
Your Eminence, there is, in the past, this tax credit was linked to the DREAM Act. I know you support both things. Do you get the sense in this final stretch of the session that it's linked to anything else? And do you want it to be linked to something else, or do you want it not to be?
In my mind, it's not. I'm sure not the expert here, nor am I the major driver here. This is a pretty wide, diverse coalition supporting this. I am passionate about it, and I'm glad people have asked for my input. It wouldn't be linked to anything else, no.
Cardinal, one of the last times you were here, you're very optimistic also after the meetings. But when it came time to vote, you're left out.
You think I'd learn my lesson?
Is there something
I don't know what
different
to
about
say. I mean, I guess by nature I tend to be a hopeful, optimistic man, and I trust people when they come up to tell me that they're behind us and that this is going to work. I tend to take them at their word. I mentioned to both the senators and the assembly members, I said, this is a tough time to be a politician. And you need to know that in our Catholic wisdom, we believe that being a politician is an extraordinarily noble vocation. And I said, I know some of you are struggling now, but you need to hear of our appreciation and admiration for what you do.
How about the parents? Are you getting the backing of the parents?
Very much so, yeah. Our parents have really come through. Our parents in the past have been somewhat passive and sort of saying, oh, we'll leave this up to the bishops. Now they're not. More and more of our parents are saying, you bishops, you're good at preaching, you're good at reminding people of their responsibilities and their duties. You keep that up, you go on the high road. We'll take care of the advocacy and the lobbying and campaigning, and we're getting a lot of support.
Cardinal, can you give me a sense of what the Pope is going to say about?
Yes, I love to hear
what the Pope is going to say about climate change later this month, and how you think that might be received in church when it
New topic.
I would not have any advanced knowledge, but I would presume that Pope Francis would build on the strong Catholic tradition that was eloquently spoken about by his predecessor, Pope Benedict, and by Pope St. John Paul II, that, my Lord, goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, in that creation is good. Creation is God's gift to us. We owe it dignity and respect. To tamper with it, to pollute it, to misuse it is a sin against God and a sin against each other. And to recall us to that biblical teaching that after God created earth, he looked and he said, this is good. This is good, and we need to treat it as good, as sacred.
Is it the role of the church to take on that fight, which some say is for politicians?
It's in the Bible. We kind of take the Bible as our textbook, so you bet it's appropriate.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your interest.
train to catch.
Thanks for your interest.
Thanks,
Okay.
Cardinal.
Thank you. See you soon. I hope.
Thanks, Cardinal.
See you next year.
New Year's Eve, don't forget.
See you.